Well, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Swift Community Live broadcast of the USA Cycling League. We are out on the London Classic course for 6 laps out there tonight, men's and women's racing. I'm Nathan Guerra. Dave Toll's next to me virtually. Dave, we've got Juan Cruzaraldi leading things out in the series. Vigo Moore, Tom Thrall on the men's side of things. On the women's side, Laura Madsen-Cole has been coming on hot in sprints lately. Be watching out for her on a crit course like this. Plus, Christy Tracy, though, Saris Pros Closet, super aggressive, as always. Be watching out for her. Saris Pros Closet, our presenting team and organizers. I think that they're going to be wanting to send somebody off the front as well.
If you wanted to list our favorites out here, Nathan, it's going to take about 30 seconds to get through the men and the women. There are a lot of talented riders lining up. Big thank you to USA Cycling. We're just about ready to hit out. We're going to have the men out on the course 5 minutes before the women. We'll be going back and forth between the different races here. Nathan has a lot on his hands there. One thing I would say, though, for the men, Nicholas Pedersen going to be very dangerous out here today as well. It's really interesting to think. That's the beauty of Zwift. We've got, so you mentioned Juan Cruz Alralde. He's in Argentina. Nicholas Pedersen is racing out. He's the PO Auto rider racing out of Denmark. Gary Mueller is racing out of South Africa. And don't want to leave the Americans out, Scotty Gleason, representing the U.S. up in the top rank riders on Zwift. But Nathan, you look down through this list. Matteo Chigala is with us here today. We got a lot of danger men. So I'll throw it back to you. It's going to be 39K. Long day in London. 6 laps total. All right, here we go, Nathan.
And the boys have hit out, and immediately, right from the get-go, actually, we are seeing Yvonne Breda here from WTRL, actually, hammering off the front. Interesting enough to see here an attack this early on. Was not expecting this kind of aggression, because we are heading over to a pretty flat course, and so interesting to see 5-5 off the front here at this point here. Raymond here looking to chase that down. Looks like Pacheco as well, but 300. I mean, heart rate's high, and we're about to take a right-hand turn into a little bit of a kick. I have a feeling he's going to be caught pretty quickly here.
Yeah, going right into the deep end of the pool. That's for sure. To think how creative when you look at this London course, the 2012 Olympic Games, our game engineers there are showing some range. It never rains in London, does it? I haven't heard of that. So looks like it's raining now, though. So I guess that's the beauty, right, of Zwift, is you can create these really bizarre scenarios. Rain in London. Wow. But here we go, Nathan. A little bit of a split happening off through the middle part of the group. Today we started with a little over 80 riders in this A category.
It looks like a little bit of split, and this is going to be the first and maybe the only section as Van Brauder does get caught here, and immediately we see an attack off the front, actually. It looks like it's going to be got to know Hodges here. James Hodges from the KRT team here.
He's back.
Ebola looking to come across as well. It looks like Gleason, Palinin as well from the World Elite Zwift team. Wes there with the Swedish flag. Caught immediately, though. Hodges always likes to kick off like this. And now a counterattack, though. It looks like they're going to make it a fun race out here today, because this is immediately counterattack after counterattack. And that is what is going to be able to split this up. Look at the back of the group here, man. In the men's race already, things are splitting. And I was not expecting this. I thought we were going to have your usual flat course situation where people kind of just sit in and wait, but now UECT giving a go. Was there an agreement up front, or what is going on that we're just going to make the racing hard?
I think this is the new world, the reality of, there's this group of 40, 50 guys. They're so strong, they can make a mark, and they're already doing it. Yeah, welcome to the pain cave is right. I mean, Nathan, look at this. We just did 5K in 6 minutes. That is nuts. And here we go. They're going to take this group down to, I'm going to say, 40 guys here over the first 15K. Only the strong survive in this world. There's a man that we were talking about riders to watch out here. And again, the women will be out on course in just a few minutes. We'll get a chance to jump in with them here. Let's see if they go out as hard as the men do. You never really know, but I'm going to expect that's what. Well, Nathan, do me a favor. Break down how challenging these 6 laps are on this London Classic course. This is a well-known parcours for our racers here. What are your thoughts on how challenging it is? It seems to me, breaking it down in a very simple way, it almost always ends up in a sprint.
Almost always, yeah. And there's only one section of the course that really has any kind of uphill battle when you get onto the course. And we are just going to start starting the 6 laps here, heading into lap number 1. This will be the finishing second, as you can see here, heading into the mall. Now we do have an attack off the front there coming from Palona in there from Wes again. Wes, that looks like the World Elite Zwifters are just going to continue to make things extremely hard. But there is a reality here that this course has only one section, and it's going to be a 3% gradient that lasts about 20 seconds or so each and every lap. That's going to be, but out of that, you do have a right-hand turn with no drafting on it. And that was the section that we did see in Trafalgar Square. You'll see it in each and every lap where all of the roads meet and intersect and split off on each other. There's a right-hand turn right there without a whole lot of drafting immediately after the climb. And because of that section, as well as this little turnaround section where there's no drafting as well, there's a 180-degree turn that the men are about to hit. And at that point as well, there's no drafting. So those are the two sections where you can accelerate and really get a gap. But you got to be full-on committed. And really, it's going to be about a few riders, not just a single rider making anything happen.
So as things settle down just a little bit here, let me set the table for you out there. Thanks for joining us again here on Zwift Community Live. As this is USA Cycling's race, and you can see the rider S. Guidry here with his USA Cycling number. So what we do is break out the results, so our USA Cycling members are able to see how they stack up against just that group. But then racing is open to anyone on the Zwift platform. If you are in an A level, well, it doesn't matter. We do A, B, C, and D level racing for the men and the women. So no matter what level racer you are, we've got an event for you out here today. And I just saw the Argentinian flag popping up there. So throughout 39 total K, that's 6 laps is the best way to look at it. Nathan just brought us through the finishing truss there, or gantry, as they call it in London, underneath that after the first lap there. And we can see the women are underway as Charlotte Backus, the turbo rider, is going to help introduce us to the group of elite women in that A category as well. Things settling down a little bit, Nathan, for the men right now. Boy, they did go out hard, but again, what's new, right?
Yeah, and with the women's side of things, they're about to hit the first section of the course. We did see Charlotte off the front for just a little bit early on. It did look like she was trying to maybe make things difficult. The series leader is here, Laura Matson-Cole, and she has been having some amazing results as of recently. We saw her over the weekend in the community-organized Tour de Boudicca by Team Revo take down a couple of sprints, and I think I'd be watching out for Laura Matson-Cole. We saw her last week as well. Throw down. And so Matson Co., she has been showing up on the radar. Evoke, it's interesting actually on the men's side and the women's side of things. Team Evoke definitely ones to watch out for always in a sprint. It's almost like that's their speciality actually. Now a little bit of attack here. Charlotte Backus give it a go again as we head into the uphill section here. 167 beats per minute now, 294 watts. Go ahead and see how this ends up playing out. Does have a little bit of a follow here coming from Matson Co. King across as well. Reznikov is there. It looks like Ramsey from Team Sisu. Sisu in the house as well. So definitely this is going to be all the big hitters showing up this week.
Yeah, we're really lucky to have such a strong field here in the middle of the summer. Nathan, I would say the Tour de Boudicca, by the way, big congratulations going out to the organizers of that event. Tremendous success, a huge step forward, I would say. The thing about Boudicca that was different, Nathan, we've seen a lot of like Tour for All events that have been great. They really have. Teams like 2020 have been a big part of that. I see them all over the screen right now. Yeah. But the thing that was different with Boudicca was we had B, C, and D category women getting a chance to do their first ever stage race, especially on this Zwift platform. So it was a very special weekend. And Nathan, I would have to say, I'm going to throw it back to you with this statement. I'm giving Laura Matson-Co. Rider of the Month for June. She absolutely killed it.
Yeah, definitely. I think Laura Matson-Cole is, Dave just awarded, throwing out awards here.
They're non-existent award.
Non-existent award.
Well, Nathan, you won the of the month.
I love it, Dave. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. Just in Dave's household, I am now employee of the month, and and Laura Matson-Co. is now the rider of the month as well. I like it. Watts off the front here, giving lots of watts.
You both get a special award. I'll be mailing it to you. So Charlotte Watts is a rider that's really coming on strong lately. She is coached by Charlotte Backus. These two, but Watts is racing for Turbo as well. So they're teammates. There's a lot of energy right now with the young folks in the world of Zwift, Nathan. I think Charlotte Backus is a tremendous example. There's Christy Tracy up there. Nathan, do we know a rider who animates races more in the last 5K than Christy Tracy? If you do, let me know, because I'd like to be hip to that.
Yeah, she's been really, really aggressive as of recently. And speaking of, there she goes right to the front, countering Tibco, it looks like. Now Ramsey from Sisu now following the correct wheel, it looks like, right back to the front in the rainbow kit on the pink trek or purple trek with Ramsey and Team Sisu. PTZ now following the wheel closely there, but Christy Tracy, she's on the Specialized S-Works Shiv with the 858, the fastest flat course racing machine. That is for sure in Zwift. CLS also on that as well with King. Now it looks like Shayna Paulus from 2020 making her way to the front. It looks like 2020. I'm seeing at least 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe at least 3 in the front group. Natalia Franco, it looks like, is showing up.
Paulus.
Also seeing Paulus. And then there was one more jersey in there. I'm going to see who else is showing up from 2020. But interesting is Jen Lupke's out here as well. So 3 of the In Real Life Pro teams. It's kind of almost a crossover team. I was actually having a conversation with Nicola, the team manager, the other day, and kind of saying, we're more of a crossover team right now, not just In Real Life Pro, because we are focused. We are committed to racing in esports. And she says, you'll be seeing us out there plenty in the community races and asking about Tour de Boudicca. Like, how do I get involved in something as awesome as that? So very committed team when it comes to the esports side of things.
Well, there's Nikki backing it up. They've got 3 riders in this front group. I'd call this a community race, the USA Cycling community. That Nikki's a big part of that as well, a board member over there at USA Cycling through the years. So Jen Lubke is out of Bend, Oregon. Nathan, one of America's bike cities, USA. I mean, it is just a phenomenon. They have the Cascade Cycling Classic. They have the Mount Bachelor Foundation, which gets young people out. It's skiing, it's cycling. Bend is an amazing, amazing place there in Central Oregon. For those of you that are outside of the United States, Lubke, originally from Montana, a triathlete who is now racing full-time as a road pro. Her teammate Shayna Paulus, another great story. So it's going to be a little tougher for Laura Matz & Co. out here. Nathan, I want to go back last week. Sisu breaking through with the win at the World Tactical Racing League. Our friends, every Thursday we have this incredible energy around this team time trial. If you're not aware of it, just get involved. You get a team, get on a team. We'll be racing again tomorrow. It's too late to get in tomorrow, but we'd love to have you out there with us. Don't you love it, Nathan? I mean, that format, team time trial, has been great. It really has. So Sisu, the team that I think is going to be the biggest challenger out here for our friends at Evoke, it really is great once you start to recognize that these human beings out there, Nathan, are way more than an avatar. And you start recognizing the teams and their strengths and their weaknesses, that's when you really fall in love with e-racing. I know you've been doing this for, more than 5 years, but for those of you that are just getting involved, I tell you, this women's field that we have today is going to be tremendous for the finale. Same thing for the men, actually. All of these races are going to be great. We're just getting into it. 39 total K today. You can see the women coming up on 8K and the men a little further along. They started earlier as well, 12.5K into this battle. It's gonna inch up on, I'd say about 3 minutes, something like that today.
And I am highlighting a rider here. Dempster, watch out for him. We had some in real life pro races, and this man, he, winning the London event in real life, Gavin Dempster, Saris Pros Closet, also want to be representing there on that side of things. Watch out for this orange kit, because I raced against Dempster this weekend, actually, and you want to know the difference between an A rider and A plus rider. Dempster went in the KISS 100 on the volcano. It was volcano climb 8 times this past week, 100 kilometers. And he went with 3 or 4 laps to go. And it was something like that. And he went at 7-8 watts per kilogram over the top, dropped myself and a couple of other super highly talented riders. Him and this other elite rider out of Australia went, Bertuzzi, and it was done and dusted, as you would say at that point. I think he averaged 5 to 5.5 watts per kilogram for the duration of the rest of the race and just walked away about all this. Won by 4 minutes. He won by 4 minutes solo attack. I mean, he had a little bit of help, but I mean, man, Dempster is watch out for
a
him.
handful of guys. Yeah, I was going to say like maybe Freddie Ovitt. There's a few guys that can do that level of ride, right? I mean, you can pretty much count them on one hand out here on this platform. I'm sorry you had to be a part of that.
Well, I got my workout in. I'm feeling the fitness benefits from riding with Dempster. So be watching out for him out there today. Now, Dempster also has a kick on his hands, but he's going to have to deal with Vidar Mail from Calais here, who I haven't seen in quite a while. And this is interesting to see. These are names we're starting to see pop up now, heading into August now at this point, maybe starting to think about September and October and starting to get their legs fresh again, because these are some of the esports teams. Vidar Mayo, Calais, that's a name that we haven't seen maybe since some of the later spring series that we've seen. So, I mean, Gavin Hughes as well, WTRL. Far up, we're seeing these names starting to pop up here, and I'm wondering if this is going to be the first of kind of the waking up again of the esports crowd coming back into the platform. I think August, maybe still some riding outside a little bit. People like to enjoy, but I think the numbers are going to start rising again, and people are going to start trying to get their Zwift legs underneath them as we start to get into the Zwifting season.
Well, I couldn't agree more, Nathan. I think that the leveling up that we witnessed with COVID-19, I think it's going to go one more beyond that now as Zwift has become more accepted, more commonplace. More and more people have been racing, and that the power of the momentum that Zwift has is just going to create for some unbelievable races. As you said, by the time September is here, it's going to be all out. So Helen McKay, big fan of this turbo rider, another great personality out there that Nathan is in with the women's race. We're still with Gavin Dempster, the Scottish rider on the Saris Pros Closet team. Nathan, I would say in the world of esports, that is a goal to aspire to for a lot of teams, to be operating at the level that these guys do. They have a women's outfit as well. We'll be talking about that in just a moment, because one of their riders will certainly be a big part of the race. But right now, James Hodges. So again, you can see that we've got a strong men's field, 3-rider move coming together on the front pretty early. It's going to take a force of will to get away from this group. And the women, a little bit of a surge going on.
Be able to do. I mean, Mike Schwartz doing 7.7 watts per kilogram off the front here. We did see a little bit of an acceleration as well from Helen McKay there from Team Turbo. Looks like that got shut down. There may be a counterattack, though, in the women's field. Ramsey here going to the front. It looks like Turbo and Tibco, though, they've been really aggressive so far. Mike Schwartz now being caught, though, on the men's side of things in the dropouts there kit, which is the green kit that they have adopted. Hodges, it looks like trying to make something happen still on the front. Keeping things fast, Edwin Park there. That's a rider I've been racing against in the USA Cycling Series, actually, in my evening races. If you're not aware, actually, for those of you that are tuning in on USA, for everybody who's tuning in, but USA Cycling specifically has along with Saris the Pros Cloud, who helps organize these events. In the morning, they have this event. In the afternoon, we broadcast their event. And then in the evening, there's also an event. So all times of the day to be a part of this series, actually, here. So Schwartz, though, giving a little bit of a kick off the front here. And Edwin Park, as I was saying, though, I think he doubles it up. Because I have a race against him, actually, in the evening as well.
Not many guys do that. Yeah. Yeah, I really don't know of more than a couple of riders that would have the capacity to double up out here. Look at this. Leah Thorwaldsen is in the women's race here. They've got an attack going clear here. It's going to be Christy Tracy. So right on cue.
Give it a go here now. 5.7 watts per kilogram. Turbo looking to back it up there right behind her, but Thorwaldsen just closing things down perhaps. Not so much of an attack. Or maybe looking at the back of the field there. Doesn't look like things are splitting up too much. Very difficult to make something happen on a negative 1% gradient. You can see that in the upper right-hand corner. That gradient currently, as well as the rest where the riders are on the map.
The cover and kill, shut down cycling there from Turbo, I would say, Nathan, is what they're doing. They want to control the group, and they're doing that. That's what I've seen a few people on some of the forums talking about, what do I need a team? Do I have to have a team to be a part of esports to race with Zwift? And the answer is no, you don't, but it's a lot more fun when you do, that's for sure. And especially by the time you get to this level, you do need a team if you want to win, to tell you the truth. I mean, unless you are, as Nathan was talking about a few minutes ago, one of these incredibly talented world tour numbers, well, then, you have that ability. But for just about everybody else, being a part of a well-organized team like Evoke or Sisu or there's a lot of them. We're not lacking for teams, are we, Nathan?
No, we're not. Well, no, speaking of teams going off the front here, we do. This is sometimes this is kind of all right, let's sit and wait and snooze a little bit for the finish. But WTRL continue to make this a very difficult race actually here. And Gavin Hughes here, along with Van Brett, are going again. They've got a little bit of a gap. Now, the commitment level, what can it be, though, is going to be the question, because the reality is that they are going to have to work together at 6 to 7 watts per kilogram on the front. Hughes, very experienced rider here out of Ireland. He knows how to sit in, as you can see, 5.2, 5.5 watts per kilogram, 171 here at this point. And now, Bretta, they're going to have to attack, though, out of here. Vidar Mail now sitting on the front, 4 seconds there. Dempster sees this as a threat. Dempster goes. 13 watts per kilogram from Dempster. He's looking to come around the corner here with a little bit of a split now. Can he make it happen? And you see how the rest of the group slowed down. Now it looks like Yumi knows that that's a wheel that he needs to follow. And Dempster looking to put a nail in the coffin here. Lots of orange numbers popping here. Now Stroud now trying to go across as well. Will he just drag the rest of the group up? No. They're sitting in and waiting here at this point, trusting maybe too much, as Vidar Mail sits on the front at 8 watts per kilogram. He's going to drag these boys back. The Norwegian national champion of Zwift is sitting on the, well, no, he's bumping the orange numbers as well, so he does not want this group to come with him, and it may be working here. This would be a reality that we're not used to seeing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 riders off the front right now with a solid 3 seconds at least. Another kick here from the dropouts, and we may be seeing a split we were not expecting.
Mamma mia, as they be saying in Italy, Nathan. This is quite a moment. Now, I think this will get welded back together, but this is going to have a lot of riders on the back foot, no doubt about it. Maybe there will be a split here. It's really hard to tell. So oftentimes, Nathan, it's not you that lets the wheel go. It's the guy 2 or 3 riders ahead of you that lets it go, and then all of a sudden you're in really big trouble. I don't know what is going to happen here. We're only halfway into this race. Again, this minute of racing, this little window right here is going to be decisive. No one's going to win the race here, but a few guys might find themselves getting shown the back door. Brutal racing here. This is the best of esports going on right now. Wow. It's coming back together, though. So
going to the front, though, right here. This counterattack, though, Mueller, will he do something with it? Raymond's there as well, and there's a left-hand turn that's about to happen here. It's a little bit of a bump that they do, and then, as you can see, Raymond right to the front. And this left-hand turn, if he keeps the speed high, there's going to be some riders at this next juncture that are going to be in the hurt locker when they hit this, and Mueller is doing exactly what he needs to do. A counterattack after everybody popped those kind of orange numbers. Lots of people are going to be at threshold, over threshold, and they're not going to be able to respond to another super attack. This next section right here may be decisive, and we may see something go away. But right now is going to be the moment. If anything's going to go, it's going to be right as they hit this climb.
Well, you set the table then, Nathan, because it's early in the race, fully acknowledging that this is dynamite going on the front. That's going to be Mueller, one of the top-ranked riders here on Zwift Power. You can go to zwiftpower.com if you want more information on these riders. They are continuing to press on. But I want to go back to what you were talking about 2 minutes ago, Nathan. It's the counterattack of the counterattack where these races are won, no doubt about it. But again, we've got such a long way to go. So many strong riders. It's a sprint course today. As you can see, that's going to be Saris, the pros closet, the orange and blue jersey on the front, one of the highly regarded esports teams that we have out here. They're trying to control things. Their rider, Holden Camo, I see winning earlier today in one of the rounds of racing that we have. But both the men's and the women's races are blowing themselves to bits right now, because there goes Christy Tracy, Nathan, on the women's side of things.
Yeah, on the women's side of things, we did have an attack from Kolchinsky actually going into the turnaround section off the mall, but then Kolchinsky was caught on a little bit of a climb into the Trafalgar Square. It was Christy Tracy who countered just now over the top of the climb. Reznikov looking to close things down. They did drop a couple of riders off over the little bit of a climb, though, it looks like. I do see the name of Laura Matson-Cole still sitting in, waiting for her signature sprint later on, though. It was a counter, it looked like, from James Hodges, trying to make something happen. Not quite able to drop anybody off, though. I thought maybe Talbot was going to make something happen from Saris the Pros Closet with the counterattack. Unable to do so, though. I think everybody just kind of got put at the limit, and at a certain point, they all just have to calm down. Mueller now back to the front here. I do have a prediction coming on in here from Saris the Pros Closet. Raymond, as well as a few others here. saying that Raymond for the win. Matthew Gardner's letting us know. So thanks a lot, Matthew Gardner. There's a whole lot of Stars of Pros Closet in the chat, actually. Good to see everybody hanging out over at the YouTube channel as well as on Facebook here. But W. Terrell to the front again in the light yellow kit. Neon here. Continue to push, it looks like. And back in with the women, though, as it looks like they've reset as well.
Yeah, names like Adam Zimmerman popping up, Brett Boniface I saw being mentioned. These are the names that you were talking about, the guys that I hope we'll see back out here racing as we really kick it into another gear. As would you say September, October is traditionally, I guess, when the season really gets going. It's going to be a whole new landscape out there. But again, let's take a look here. It's Van Breda. WTRL, that yellow jersey, Nathan. They've really represented themselves well here today in our men's race. As you can see, again, you're just joining us. They're doing 6 laps on the London Classic course, 39 total K here. So you can see the men are 22.2 K in, almost half an hour of racing to get them to this point. It's been incredibly aggressive. But as a few people have been noting, Nathan, it is really hard to split up a strong group like this on a course as we're racing on here today. There's horses for courses, and a lot of guys are suited to racing around London, that's for sure. And you got so many teams that are racing for a sprint today, I would say, in both the men's and the women's race. Now, again, when I say racing for a sprint, it's a little bit different than in real life. You still have to survive some incredibly hard surges that go on out there. But, all right, looks like they're going to bring Van Breda back here, Nathan, and reset. But again, another counterattack should be going. It's just attack after attack out here.
Yeah, and we do have Mueller, who's been really aggressive in the recent races here, going off the front, it looks like. Again, maybe just shutting things down, making sure that he's secure at the front. Team Draft on the left-hand side of the front of the pack now in the red kit. In the back there, it looks like Gavin Hughes maybe setting up for a counter for his teammate there. No, not going to be happening as they head into I believe we're on to, if we check out swiftpower.com, I think we're on to lap number 4 as they start this lap heading down the mall.
So, Nathan, from your experience as a racer, right, after you've seen multiple strong guys go to the front and attack, even get a small group, working group together and have it not succeed, at what point do you recognize that, it's going to take something special to get in a breakaway? And look at Matteo Cigala there, the Irish rider. He has stayed very quiet. I would say doing a tremendous job. I'm expecting something big from him today, to tell you the truth. We'll continue to look through the group. James Hodge is another name that you're always going to be watching for when it comes down to the finale. That guy just doesn't miss the top 10. So who's going to crack that code, Nathan? Who's going to be, we know all about Juan Eraldi. There are plenty of talented guys here, but who's going to break out today? I always wonder because, maybe it's Raymond. That's been tipped many times.
Do we have Vigil Moore out here today? I'm wondering because he's
I don't think so.
At 65 points, and that's 15 behind Juan Cruz Araldi, and he's definitely one of the big sprinters, that's for sure.
Not on my start list, though. So life happening for folks through the summer, I'm sure. Vigil Moore is probably in an alpine lake right now, canoeing.
Tom canoeing.
Yeah.
That's exactly what he's doing. Oh my God. We've got Tom Thrall, though, is going to be chasing down Juan Cruz Araldi, though, that's for sure. And Juan Cruz Araldi's most likely going to be sitting in, I would think, at 80 points. He's just got to follow wheels. But Tom Thrall is going to be one to be watching out for out there, as well as Scott Gleason and Gary Mueller. They are all in the top 5 here at this point. I do got some call-outs for Scott Gleason from 3R for the sprint. He is a top sprinter, that's for sure. Gary Mueller, he's been a little bit of an upset, though, recently, I think, coming out of South Africa. 58 points for him, currently in 4th place overall. And he's been a little aggressive today, but if he does that a little too much, it does come down to a sprint, he could be sacrificing his race.
Agreed. It's going to be interesting when you look at what this group looks like as they come to the line, but I don't think it's going to be all that different, although there again, Mueller has been playing his cards early here, getting very active. He's got a good rider with him here. So we got a situation on our hands, Nathan. If they can get this up to 4 riders who want to fully commit, this would be the break of the day. But so much horsepower back in that peloton here. I almost think, let's say you're Scott Gleason. That's a good rider to look at. From his perspective, this is good right now. I would like Mueller to make a big effort and come a little less fresh to the sprint. So there's a few guys that maybe you're willing to give some leash out here, Nathan. I mean, that's the game. here. Oftentimes with the rider that's dangerous to you, you like to run them like a fish, right? You get them on the hook, you let them run out, then you slowly reel them back in, and hopefully you've got as they say, a dead fish to sprint against.
You mean this is a serious rider to be watching out for, though? There's four. Hughes, Cumming, as well as Mueller from AHDR.
Big names.
Zayas
Those
here
are
now
all
as well. This is a
solid
name
guys.
I'm not super familiar with, actually, here. This is a wild card for sure. We see big orange numbers popping here, but they had 10 seconds. They're not going to close down 10 seconds over that little bit of a climb. They have to carry some speed. Hodges may be able to cause something to go across here, but they've got a solid gap now at this point in the men's race. We did see Leo Thorvaldsen off the front in the women's race just a moment ago with an attack. We'll see if there's a counter coming through from Christy Tracy, but she does get caught on this same climb section that we're seeing the men go through.
Yeah, very interesting, Nathan. I'm going to stay with the men's race right now because what that attack has done, the unintended or maybe intended consequences here is split the group. I have a strong feeling that only so many guys, about 2/3 of what was in what we'd call the peloton, it's now chase one, as they do have a 4-rider group that's gone clear. And I mean, it's touch and go out there right now for a few different riders who are going to be on that bubble. Look how it's starting to string out, little gaps opening up through the field. Now they're welding that back together, but boy, a really, really dynamic race. All things considered, this is a much more exciting race than you normally see, I would say, over here on the London Classic course. Going back to the women, Gruppo Compato, as they just go past 20K into a 39-kilometer race for both men and the women, all the different categories out here today. But Nathan, I think over in the men's side of things, you see another rider attacking here. Look like they're trying to bridge up. Okay, interesting now. Rather than trying to bring it all back together, Dempster wants to go join. What does that tell? That gives
they just brought it together. They just brought it together, so it's a counter. It's a counter. They literally just brought it together. And as soon as they did, Dempster goes over the top with 8 watts per kilogram. And I spoke with Dempster after the race this weekend, and he said, one attack. That's what it was. It was one major attack I was waiting for when everybody got tired. He's already done one today already. Now this looks like it's going to take 2 maybe today if he does make anything happen here. But this is a rider who's got consistency. He can hold a solid high 300s for the rest of this race. They're going to have to chase this down, or at least somebody go across. If he gets anybody to go across with them here, 5 seconds at this point, and these gaps are opening up a lot quicker than they were earlier. Earlier, it was kind of like the speeds were super, super high. And so, but now I think riders are getting tired. Nobody wants to sit at the front quite as much. And I think these attacks are going to have a higher chance because riders were looking to sit in and rest as we get into the later parts with only about 11K to go. Dempster now off the front with Boudicca coming here. Hughes trying to come across, but look at the speeds. They are lower in this pack now than they were before. Raymond now seeing that this may be something that could happen now. Up into 12 watts per kilogram. The speeds are really high, 62 kilometers per hour. Walter Zwart looking to follow it up, but now going backwards here at this point, trusting that this is going to be brought back together, and it does. Will there be another counter? Because this has been nothing but hot racing all day long now.
Yeah.
Out to the front again. Looks like Raymond. Nope, calming things on down. Look at how many green jerseys, though, from the dropouts are to the front. That's danger signal.
Yeah, and that's an OG team out here as well, the dropouts. It's good to see them back and in full effect. Nathan, we got some old school fury going on here today in London. So I believe they just went under the gantry there to start their 5th lap, if I'm correct. So meaning that we've got 2 laps of racing remaining out here. Nathan, let me know if I'm wrong there, but I think I've got that right. So that's not much racing remaining. The way things have been so active here, boy, you really got to keep your eye on the prize. Starting to bunch up a little bit now, tiny bit of reprieve. It only stays this way for so long here. So again, the men really quickly coming up on 30. I mean, they're going to have done 30K in right around 37 minutes.
Absolutely flying out here, and the women's race is no joke as well, as I am seeing a Team Typical rider, which is not something you usually see. Off the back, Newsom for just a moment here, maybe just a moment of inattentiveness, but we have definitely whittled things down as you see this group down to about 21 riders here at this point. Watts making her way to the front, to the back here. Christy Tracy again on the front. Saris Pros Closet not making things easy, that's for sure. A little bit of a counterattack here. That is going to be Thorvaldsen here trying to control the race, it looks like. Ramsey now following it up, it looks like, as well. But the women's side of things definitely staying extremely aggressive here. Does look like Backus now from Team Turbo. Lots of Turbo kits toward the front. of this group here. Christy Tracy looking to sit in, it looks like, after a little bit of a kick. Mats and Co. well placed as well, as you can see. Evoke, how many riders do they have? Keller's? No, not Keller's not riding for Evoke. Those look like 2 jerseys here for Evoke today.
It's funny, though, you read my mind. I was thinking Monali Keller right as you said that, because she's another rider out of Seattle, another great story in our field here. And boy, did she have a strong race at Boudicca. I believe she was second on the final stage. And that tells me that she's trending in the right direction. That's for sure. I see Vicky Nealon out here. We have, every one of these names are recognizable. These women have been doing their work over the last few months. If you're in this group, you could fit Natalia Franco, the Colombian rider there for 2020. So, Nathan, I think it's fair to say if you're riding in this group right now, you are one fit human being. There's no way to hide. There's no way to fake your way into this. You're doing some serious watts, and here we go. Another rider. Christy Tracy is irrepressible out here, Nathan. Just body blow after body blow being thrown by Tracy here, which makes me think that she's riding for one of her teammates today, just keeping things so hard, always keeping the other teams, behind the 8 ball, constantly chasing. They bring her back again.
Yeah, we are seeing
Reznikov, another
here
rider to watch.
PTZ here making her way to the front, and now a counterattack here. Backus here now is the next one to go here, 170 beats per minute. It looks like Charlotte Backus continues to be aggressive on the front as well. Her and Christy Tracy, it seems like, nonstop. And I think what they're thinking about is Evoke. Mats & Co. has been such a force, and I think that they really want to try and break Evoke.
And I hate to say it, but that's like saying I'm going to try to break Darth Vader. It's not going to be easy to do. She is mentally strong. She's almost automatic when it comes to the last month of racing. If she's in a group. Now, I'm looking around for Evoke teammates, Nathan. She had V win with her this weekend. There was tremendous help. She won this event.
Speaking of V win, I just saw her come into the chat, actually, letting us know a little bit of cool information here. Good to see V-Win is in here saying, Monali, Laura, and I on the same team in Seattle. Nathan Garrett, thanks for V-Win. Appreciate the chat coming on through over on the Facebook. So good to see her hanging out and encouraging her teammates on out here.
She's probably at work. I think that V works for Microsoft, as Monali Keller works for Microsoft.
I thought she was hanging out with her cat. I thought that's all she did was hang out with her cat.
Her cat is bananas. If you don't follow her Instagram, you should. It's worth it, believe me. V is, well, just like all of these women, but V is a lifestyle onto herself. So I'm guessing she'd be racing if she wasn't out here working. We're going to be going back now. I know things have been a little crazy up in the Pacific Northwest lately.
Dempster goes again. Man. What is going on with Gavin Dempster? Just between super Christy aggressive. Tracy, Chad is even noticing here as well, saying Dempster just nonstop.
Yeah, Christy Tracy and Gavin Dempster win our Most Aggressive Riders Award for today, I would think, without any question. But that doesn't always get you the chocolates there, does it? You have to be able to close out the deal. And again, there's tactic, there's strategy. There's a lot of things going on out here. We're looking at Grossman over here for the Century Road Club of America out of New York. What a great group of folks there are there. We did that Dave Jordan Classic. That was it moved me, to be honest. This is the team that Kristen Faulkner came out of, who's the breakthrough rider on the road for the Tibco team this year. So that's the women. They're at 26K into a 39K ordeal out here today. The men are a lot closer to the finish line now, Nathan. They're closing in on 6K to go now. So, ladies and gentlemen, go ahead, get a seat, buckle in, because we are at the business end here for our USA Cycling race presented by the Saris Pros Closet.
One rider that I definitely want to highlight, though, as well is going to be Vicky Nealon coming out of the UK. And Vicky Nealon, a little bit of chat coming on through. Allison in the chat saying, go on Vicky Nealon. And this is a rider from Team Heino, one of the most dominating teams out on Zwift, that's for sure. I'd be watching out for her coming into the sprint. She knows how to ride Zwift. She knows the ins and outs of it. But I think there's been a little bit of an upset amongst the esports teams with how much talent that's been showing up as of recently, from especially on the women's side of things. Having a chat about this the other day. On the women's side of things, we've seen a lot of crossover from the in real life racing into the esports team. Team Turbo having a ton of in real life pro racing from the women's side of things. And obviously with Saris the Pros Closet bringing a lot of in real life pro racing. Obviously we've got 2020, which is in real life pro racing team. I mean, I think Heino now are finding themselves amongst a whole new crowd of racers, which is always great to have such a high level of racing that when the bar gets raised. But Nealon, another rider to be watching out for, maybe going to be hitting out for Heino in a way that we haven't seen as of recently. But the men, they're heading into their final lap, and we do have 3 off the front. Let's go ahead and focus in on them as they start to ramp things up into their final lap to complete 39K total.
Well, on the chat that I've been looking at, Nathan, they've been hyping Raymond at a high level out here, and he's backing it up now. Strong move. It's a nice mix of teams as well, isn't it? I mean, I don't think you do any better than having these 3 squads represented in the breakaway. If you can't find the right recipe there, I don't think anything's going to work. As far as another rider bridging up, though, not bringing the group to him, that's an encouraging sign for the breakaway. Nathan, we got ourselves an interesting little move. However, they're not getting more than a couple seconds out here. That's not going to be anywhere near enough.
It's going to be really difficult here at this point. I mean, the reality is right now, if they want to try and stick this, they need to attack out of this corner and not stop until the finish line. And I mean, everything you possibly have, all in effort, all chips on the table from here on out, or else it's reset and wait for the sprint, or a counter out of the pack who will have some energy at this point. The pack may get lazy, but there's too much time for them to get lazy at this point.
Yeah, and Nathan, when you say that, that's all 4 guys completely committing. That's just never going to happen.
Look at this, though. Hodges, Cunningham, I don't know. This is interesting.
That's the move. Here. That's the move, baby. Here we go. So look at this rocket ship on wheels right now. So James Hodges out of the United Kingdom comes in as one of the highly regarded talents in our field. And Nathan, this one's going to leave a mark. No doubt about it. Ladies and gentlemen, we are no longer in London, England. We are in downtown Pain City as James Hodges has taken it to him now. We're at about 4K to go. They're about a third of the way into the final lap, the last ronde here in London.
Yeah, and we got Hodges now off the front here, and Chris Racing Team. This is one of the longest standing teams, longest standing riders in the world of Zwift, and he's got 7 watts per kilogram off the front. Snickers is looking to come across here, it looks like, coming from race 3R. Is it going to be happening? And he is going to be able to shut this right on down, and I have a feeling he's going to be working for the man Scott Gleason out here today. Let's take a quick look as we head into the final few. They just popped up, actually. We got them working here, and we do have, real quickly, this is where things stand heading into this final here. We're going to be watching each one of these riders. Juan Cruzarelli, Vigo Moore, Tom Thrall, Gary Mueller, Scott Gleason, Franklin O'Mara, as you can see, Simon Nielsen, John Stroud, Joachim Leeson, and Mateo Segala. Those are the riders to watch out for into the final. We'll see how this goes. That's the current series standings here in this day of final racing in this 4-race series. There's going to be more series to come for USA Cycling. This is the final for this 4-race series.
Our points series is stacked pretty heavy for the top 5 places, Nathan. So these guys, Mueller, they got to be really licking their lips right now. They have a chance to move up significantly with the riders that did not start. We scratched guys like Vigo Moore today. So you're going to see some big changes on that leaderboard. Looking to take advantage. You got to make hay when it's in the field, and it is right now. It's time to harvest for a few of these
61
guys
points.
Here. Gleason is another that can move up a lot. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I mean, I'm going to expect Gleason and Mueller to move up into the top 3 spots after today. We'll see if they can make that play out their way. But here we go, folks. We are locked and loaded. This is not a drill. The final few kilometers of racing have now arrived. These guys have got to be happy to get to this point. It has not been an easy journey to get here. And there you go. Again, we're seeing another attack going off the front from the yellow jersey of WTRL, the World Tactical Racing League.
Van Breda is going to be happening at 35 points on the line. 35 points at the line. 35 at the line, everybody. And this isn't, there's no best. Third too. Your best 3 results count. So interesting to see if anybody's got 3 results so far. And there's plenty that do still as well. But as you were saying, I'm looking through who's got. Simon Nielsen's only got 2. Is Nielsen in here for Fusion ECT? It's going to be interesting to see. But now we see Almeida making his way to the front there. WEZ now at 201 watts, looking to also make his way to the top. And he's certainly in 6th place here. 35 points is a lot, Dave. And really coming across the line in first is going to be so incredibly important.
Well, you can see what that does when you well, we just looked at that, where we stand coming into the final race here. Again, this was a little mini series that we put together to fill in the gap and keep everybody racing. And a big thank you to USA Cycling for all the work that they do. This is going to be an Irish rider. All right, Ireland. A lot of support for Matteo here. So take a look, do some inventory. These are the guys that made it. Pretty large group, pretty much what we anticipated. No doubt about it now. These guys are going to realize, and one of the fun things about Zwift is it's going to come down to how deep you're willing to dig, as you don't actually have to bang handlebars. You don't have to worry about a crash in the final 300 meters right in front of you. You get to absolutely let it rip. The pure, raw physicality of a finish on Zwift, unlike anything in the world, Nathan. I don't know that any athletes that dig any deeper than this. And who is this? World elite Zwifters up there. We saw 3R, but we've got riders all over the shop. Is this Juan Araldi?
Raldi, this is the series leader.
Whoa.
Cruz Araldi goes from about a K to go at the 1K banner. He kicks 12 watts per kilogram. They're sleeping. They're sleeping. It looks like, oh my goodness, he's going to make this happen. Velez from the drop is looking to go across, but he's got 11 watts per kilogram. Continues on at 184 beats per minute, but it's a downhill finish here. They come on so incredibly fast. Raymond's now coming at 12 watts per kilogram. He's going to have to hold for such a long period. I think he's done it. He's got 8 seconds. This is done.
He's got it. Ladies and gentlemen, Juan Cruz Araldi out of Argentina for Team ZF. So this is a huge win. He takes it to him, jumping out of the group in the final K. Nathan, this one is done and dusted. Araldi for the win.
Ooh, Almeida across the line in second, it looks like here. We'll take a look at it in just a moment. But Franklin Almeida from WZ, I think, was able to kick across the line there. That's going to be some solid 30 points for him. But Juan Cruz Araldi showing exactly why he is the series leader, catching everyone out completely. You know what he did there is he got a gap.
Beautiful.
With a full-on sprint, essentially. I mean, that was a full-on sprint with a K to go. And
he
from there, it was
a
just
kilometer
over.
before the finish line and freewheeled across the line, right? I mean, you don't see that very often. That was really, really impressive. Nathan, he's been knocking on the door, Juan Cruz Araldi. That's a big win. That's a statement win, to tell you the truth, because we won't forget that one, because it's so rare, so rare. And as you mentioned, with that downhill finish, you almost always get swarmed. But he built up that going back now, looking at the replay here of Araldi's attack. Beautiful. Beautiful. What an artist this man is.
Yeah, amazing attack here coming from Araldi. Here we see him right up into those 12 watts per kilogram there. So solid kick here, as you can see. And the group trying to chase him down. And they just slept on it. There was no lead out, really, from anybody, and it was just attack then from here on this point. Really, I'm not even sure if a lead out would have mattered. They were going to have to kick. They were going to have somebody chase this down at about that K to go or so, and they just didn't. Just the reality is there was nobody there really chasing anything down. It was going to take 2 or 3 people making something happen.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to say, Nathan. It was going to take an organized, cohesive effort to withstand that unbelievable surge from Araldi. Congratulations. Viva Argentina here this morning in Fort Collins. Well, actually this afternoon around America. So, all right, Nathan, the women should be bearing down on the finish line now as we take a look again at the I guess it turned into a group sprint.
Whistling, Gleason, Peterson, I think is what it is. Let me get the results for everybody in just a moment.
So good for Scotty Gleason. I think Gleason might move up into second in the series there, so we'll see. But we got Vicky Nealon, the Hino team. Nathan, you mentioned this was one of the OG squads as well. We were talking about 3R in the men's race. This Hino team has been a dominant force for many years out here.
Yeah, and they used to be. It was kind of like the triple crown of the women's racing actually when it came to Vicky Nealon, Vicky Whitelaw. I mean, we had they were just absolutely dominating out here from the Hino team, and as of recently, I think they took a little bit of a break, got outside, I think, for a little while, and now at this point, Whitelaw, though, was racing a lot of the NRS as well as the Shram Send It series, though, because she's coming out of Australia. So interesting time of day to be racing for her. I think she was getting up at 2 or 3 a.m. To race in any of these more primetime races here. So for at least the western side of the world. But,
right.
You know, Hino, Vicky Nealon, as you were saying here, one of the longer standing. For those who are just jumping in and unfamiliar with the world of esports racing, I mean, this is a team that has riders on it that have jumped around here or there and recently Heino formed this past year. But some of these teams, for those of you that don't know, they've been around for 5 years actually. They've and racing like this week in and week out, building their reputation as well as their ability out here out on Zwift. So it's pretty amazing to see. Another one right next, names. Actually right here, PTZ right there behind them. That's one of the first kits in game as well. So as far as old school teams, that one actually amongst this group, as I look through, that's the oldest standing kit in this group actually, unless there's a besides the traditional general kits that are in game, like the Alienware kit. That'll be one of the first, obviously. But PTZ as far as team kits there, as you see on the right hand side,
it's a big deal
in this group.
For folks that aren't familiar with this platform so much, getting your kit in game is a huge step. That is not something that is taken lightly by the folks at Zwift, and you really have shown your commitment by the time your kit is in game. That goes without saying. Nathan, I just saw some chat coming in from the men finishing up. Mueller popping out of his pedals during the sprint there. I don't know if that's ever happened to you, but
it has.
Something that happens in real life.
Yep. If I'm live streaming and I pop out of the pedals, I sometimes the stream gets deleted. So that's one of the most frustrating situations by far, is when either the chain pops off or something goes on with the shifting in the middle of a sprint, or you pop out of your pedal. It's over. I saw Lionel Viasen live streaming actually and popped out of his pedal in one of the bigger races actually. I think it was one of the invite only Zwift invite races, popped out of his pedals in the sprint, and that's a rider Viasen that what a competitor, but the frustration that comes with that. Sorry to hear from Mueller there, but that's racing sometimes is the reality. Especially when you're in, there is a talent to it. There is a way to do it so that things like that don't happen.
Smooth. Yeah, absolutely. Well put. All right, Nathan. Well, this is it. We're down to about half a lap of racing remaining, 3K
look at how calm it's
for the women here.
Compared to a couple laps ago, look at how different this atmosphere is as they all look at each other. It's like snakes ready to pounce. They're coiling and ready to go.
Absolutely. And everybody right now is just trying to recharge their battery. If you can, put a little more charge on it at least, because you realize what is going to happen. I do like the situation that 2020 is in. They got 3 very strong riders in this group. Let's see if they can use that to their advantage. I mean, typically, Nathan, rule of thumb, bike racing 101, you have one rider attack, not your sprinter. Put pressure on the other riders. If she doesn't come back, more power to you. You just won the bike race and get the chocolates. But if she does get caught, that should put your teammates in a little bit better position, as they've been able to sit on that chase. But, there's a limited window that you have to apply that tactic. And again, someone like Laura Matson-Coe is going to be incredibly hard to beat out here. If she really does come in as a monster favorite in this series, the form that she's had lately. Christy Tracy, another rider who's won out here and is sitting in second. You can see Monali Keller is sitting in third right now with 35 points available for the win. A lot of different things can happen. You could see a final race here. We could see some major changes there in our overall.
A little bit of kicks here. I was going to leave that up there for a second, but now we're starting to get into the business end of the race here. We're into the final couple of K now at this point. We've got little over 2K to go here. And Matson-Coe, your series leader, still in here sitting, it looks like, waiting for that signature sprint she's had as of recently. But 2020 now taking over to the front. Look at this organization now at this point. And that's something they've really been focusing on lately. And Natalie Franco here, been chatting with the team a little bit, and they've been saying they're really learning the Zwift style. And Shayna Paulus, another rider I think that's been really setting up very well in the sprints recently. We'll see if she can take this down or at least get a solid podium out here today. But Matson-Coe is going to be one really difficult rider to deal with, I think, as I have not seen her stick her nose in the wind. Look, placed at the back of the pack right now. And I have a feeling you're going to start seeing her move up to second or third wheel. But this being a smaller group, you don't have to be quite as concerned as long as the gaps don't open up or it doesn't get strung out.
Lubke here, the Cascade Cycling Classic in real life winners. They're going to be bearing down on this sprint pretty quickly here. So we're going to be watching the front. Who's going to be the first to go? Who's going to light the fuse is really the question, as when they hit that 1K to go point, and that comes up very quickly here. All right, ladies, we are locked and loaded. Not a drill. This is a big one now. Is 1K to the finish, Nathan. Monali Keller, the Canadian living in Seattle, very well positioned. Reznikov racing out of Israel. She's an absolute monster. But again, Thorvaldsen there for Turbo. They got Charlotte Backus still in this group as well. But Nathan, again, so many names to talk about. One rider is going to have an exceptional win out of this hyper talented group.
Yeah, extremely talented group here. Jen Lubke now sitting right in the middle. It looks like no. Reznikov goes very early, 8 watts per kilogram. Little bit of kick, maybe just for a position here. Vicky Nealon on the front here, just waiting for a rider to come through for a lead out. Nobody wants to lead the train. And will a team make the way to the front? It's going to be Newsom now sitting well, but Reznikov is the first one to go. 11 watts per kilogram coming from her. This is a very early kick. She might be able to catch them out here. Matson Co, she comes across, it looks like, as quickly as she possibly can to cover this, though. She might just be a lead out train. It's her neck and neck with Christy Tracy. Is Christy Tracy going to take this out? Is it going to be an upset here from Saris? The pros clock. We're into the last 200 meters. Tracy trying to hold on. It's not going to happen though as Matson Co comes with the kick. It looks like no, she's fading. It looks like right to the line. It's Revo. I think Revo pulled it off. I'm not positive, but I believe Revo pulled. May have just had a huge upset here. We'll have to take a look at the replay. That was so close. I saw 2020 kits as well right in there, like 3 of them coming right to the line. We have to take a look at the replay because that was too close to call.
Boy, it shows you how hard it is when you hit the front to hold on up there, Nathan. I mean, it looked like 5 different riders had a crack at winning here. So this is going to be a really fun replay to look at as Nathan's just going to dig that up here. And we'll take a look at exactly how that played out. To be honest, I thought Christy Tracy was going to be strong enough to hold on for this one. Then as it looked like Laura Matson Co was going to come through. But let's go back. I think we're going to start with Reznikov, aren't we here?
Yeah, it looks like we're with Kroger here now at this point. But and now Nealon starting to. I thought
we'll have to break this down. It was just
was going to start it. I thought at first. But Reznikov was the first one to go. Let's go ahead and speed things up just a little bit. I thought Vicky Nealon was
Keller, Monali Keller.
And there it is. There's Reznikov's kick. There it is as she goes.
Okay.
And then it was followed up pretty quickly here by Matson Co, who looked to go across to the wheel. But look, what happened here? Matson Co did not grab that wheel and ended up being a lead-out train because of that. For the rest of the group. If she would have jumped across to that wheel, she would have had Reznikov's wheel and then been able to come over the top. Instead, she's trying to close it down this entire time and leaving everyone else out. She had no shelter.
Yep, so she's burning her torch at way too high of a rate there. So that was the surge that
and
she
Tracy
wanted for
actually
the end.
they're kind of the lead-out trains, actually. We'll see if they hold on.
Yeah, so I don't know what happened there. It's how they got baited out so early. They just didn't really have anyone that they could look to help
There's
close
still 200
that gap
meters
down.
to go right there. They're at like 200 to go.
This is where you think Tracy's got it, right, Nathan? I mean, Christy Tracy surges here. She's in the dark jersey there. She just takes the lead at this point. And typically then you're like, oh, wow, there's still 4, 5, 6 riders.
I thought she was going to still come over the top there, but it just wasn't going to happen. 7 watts per kilogram. Maybe she clipped out because that's not a familiar sight to see there, actually.
That's not Matson Co-ish, that's for sure.
No, and there it is, right at the line. Almost Thorvaldsen. Was it? No, Monali Keller, I think. Paulus Thorvaldsen. It's all right. I mean, it's so close. I'm gonna have to take another look at the. That was so almost too close to call.
Congratulations! You know, I got to say, Nathan, my guess, and I could be wrong, but I think that is Monali Keller taking the win, the rider out of Seattle. And if that's true, this shows you that she now is really becoming one of the queens of esports racing. Monali Keller in full effect. Nathan, we'll look at the back end API on this, right? I mean, that's so close.
Yeah. We're gonna actually head on over to Richmond because that's the only scene I have.
Okay, we'll be there tomorrow for WTRL.
And we'll be there tomorrow for WTRL. So that's the heads up. There we go. Nice segue there, Dave.
Promo.
That was completely meant to happen, Dave. Completely. And look at this. It was Monali Keller. What a result for Monali Keller, actually. And
Paulus for second. Ay.
And Paulus, she has been playing second fiddle actually recently a lot, but I think she's happy with that because she's been working on the sprint, especially up against these esports riders here. Thorvaldsen coming to the line. That's a good result for Thorvaldsen recently. Not seeing quite as many results like that, but I think this is showing up on the day. I think Matson Co. fading to the line, coming through for fourth. Christy
She'll
Tracy,
win
who
the
is
series, though.
oh yeah, gonna take
Matsuko
that.
will win the series. I got to say, though, Nathan, going back to Shayna Powless, Monelly Keller was getting these seconds going back a month, 2 months ago. So Shayna Powless, I anticipate, is going to be winning some big races out here as well for 2020. Her day is coming.
100%, 100%. And looking through here, we do see it is going to then be Fran Bramburst coming through, Jen Lukey, Helen McKay for Turbo, and then Reznikov. That jump ends up paying for it, though, as it's just a little bit too early amongst these ladies here. Michelle Debs then coming through for 10th. Let's see if we got any of the rest of the riders. No, we do have our C category. See, I figured. When I saw that, I figured that she had unclipped and she may have had it, but still, I'm not going to say she did though because
No, she did. She's saying she did.
No. I'm saying that even with the unclip though, I'm not taking anything away from the rest of the riders there.
Oh yeah,
she was still coming through, but the timing it would have had to been perfect. And we'll have to wait. There's no way to know at this point. No way to know at this point.
No, absolutely. Monelly Keller, a worthy winner. She's been doing her work. I tip my cap to you, Monelly. Congratulations. A big day for this Canadian. But she's in Seattle, Washington. Another one of these Wonder Women on this platform. Palace for second. Thorwaldsen for third. Laura Matson-Co fourth. Christy Tracy fifth. Fran Bamburst. Fran, good work out there. Jen Lubke in seventh. Helen McKay in eighth. Antonina Reznikov in ninth, and then Michelle Dobbs rounding out our top 10. Boy, that's quite a list there. Yet,
so we'll just jump right into the C's here as Marjolaine de Viger, followed up by Veronica Rodriguez, then Sarah Blanton, Paige Wunrow, followed up by Trisha Kurtz. So, and yeah, that, I mean, and then a great big shout out to Elizabeth Dewitt's here, coming across line 54-15 in the D category. So, that was the situation for the women. And speaking of lists here, and obviously that women's side of things, Dave, I'd have to agree with you. The talent, the depth is just getting crazy.
It really is. Yeah, it's so much fun. There's never been a better time. And the good thing is you start learning about these racers, your passion for this will increase. And I know it's a tough time for so many folks out there. And I hope that this can be an entertaining and uplifting part of your day. It's a positive thing to look forward to throughout the week. Definitely the energy around tomorrow's WTRL, Nathan, is exactly that. As we take a look at Argentina's Juan Cruz Araldi taking the win and the series. Franklin Almeida, the Brazil, go Brazil in second. Gustav Wisting in third. So look at that. Argentina, Brazil, Sweden, Denmark with Nicholas Patterson, a former winner out here. In fifth place, it's going to be Scott Gleason for Ride 3R. Sixth, and then our top American as well. Luis Zayas Zeal is going to end up in sixth. Tom Thrall, the Canadian, in seventh. Then we've got Andrea Voulier in eighth. Mike Cumming in ninth, and Vidar Mel Nathan. If you are into different flags and nationalities for Zwift, this has to make you smile. Here is look at their worldwide representation in our USA Cycling Race League presented by Saris Pros Closet. I'll throw it to you for the bees.
Yeah, and we do have Kyle Crouch here coming on through, followed up by Pucci here out of Canada. Loving the
now you see why I threw it to you?
He's got the dog emojis. He's got the dog emojis there. I like it. Justin Evans there coming on through for third. Looks like it's going to be Sean Harris. Cole Williams for fifth place. Matthew Neubauer there for sixth. Robert Easley followed up by Martin Jewell, and then it's going to be Lee Lipscomb and Simon Oxenham, the Sox and Ham, long-time racer out on Zwift, making himself known in 10th place there in the B category. In the C category, well-known name Christian McDonald there, followed up by Daniel Stevens, and then Ben Vermeulen. Ryan Shank, followed up by Rob Richardson, and then Alex Nadown. David Almeida for two guys, and then it's going to be Seabass. Lauren Crannell, and then Daniel Clegg there. That's your top 10 in the C category today in the USA Cycling Series. And then go ahead and take it away for the D's here out here for us, Dave.
Aiden Zavala taking the win. I believe that's Chile's flag, but I probably should check myself. Stevie McGuire there in second. Jack Marius Takthritrix in third. Martin Hobson in fourth. Tommy C. fifth. Keelan Fenters in sixth. Carlos H in seventh, Tyler Lipsig in eighth, and then Ricardo Oliveira rounding out our top nine. That's in the D's. So this one is done and dusted today here on London Classic. A big thank you again to USA Cycling, keeping the racing going out there. I know everybody is just so anxious to get back and racing safely, but until then, I'm really happy we get to do this, Nathan.
Yeah, and we are a couple of announcements, everybody, as well, that working on some things, and it looks like next week we're going to be focusing in on the women empowerment for a test run here next week on Tuesday. So be watching out for that by WTRL, and then also WTRL tomorrow. We've got the WTRL team time trial. Make sure to be checking that out. We'll be out on Richmond for the team time trial. And that is what's happening here on Zwift Community Live. If you haven't done so already, we are live on Twitch, YouTube, as well as Facebook. Hit those follow buttons as well as turn on your notifications. Big shout out to Saris Pros Closet for organizing all of this with us. You can check out all the race results and the links over on Zwift Power for how it all ended up playing out. And we'll be back, I think, for some more USA Cycling Racing League in the coming weeks. We're waiting on that announcement. But until tomorrow, WTRL. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Really had a lot of fun with that one. Great job to all the racers, as always, everybody. And we'll see you tomorrow. Big old ride on.